What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be talking about the SPY and Tesla and break down a very huge trap that could be actually forming right now for all investors based off CPI, based off the formation in the charts that could actually be huge for Tesla. There's a possibility that the market might drop on Monday, and if CPI actually ends up coming as expected, like the way Joe Biden is saying it will, there's a chance all of these shorts could be trapped. The market could actually get a mini rally again next week because we also have quadruple witching based off the options chain. I'm going to talk about that for a SPY and Tesla. And then later on, maybe like a week later, maybe a week and a half later, then the market could actually see another big drop. I'm going to break down why that is, how this whole like crash possibility could play out, and what factors and signs are there that what I'm saying could end up playing out. Now, before I break anything down about this, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 7 free stocks, and any of those 7 free stocks could be a free Tesla share. It's a limited time offer. The offer ends in just 3 weeks. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So anyways, like I was saying, I found something very suspicious going on in the markets. Okay, the market's dropping very hard. And yes, there is actually a fundamental backing for us to pull back. The market should have never actually gone to these crazy high levels it went to from a fundamental standpoint. That's based off, inflationary data, based off other factors when it comes to how banks are performing, based off the fundamental earnings that came out, and etc. So the market is very manipulated. Why is the market so manipulated? Because of the options chain and also because of other factors. But when it comes to the options chain, that's one of the main reasons why. The market makers like to squeeze shorts, they like to cause lots of pain for investors, and they do this by making profits by playing on the other end. So if you buy a call, there's always going to be a seller, someone selling the call to you. And most of the time, that's going to be a market maker. And they being players in like the whole stock market, they manipulate stocks. And there's a chance we could see some huge manipulation next week because we have quadruple witching. But it all starts off with none other than Joe Biden himself. What does he have to do with this? Well, like I told you guys in the previous video, I found this very weird because Joe Biden is saying, I'm optimistic that CPI next week will be in solid shape. So, does he know something? Maybe he does. Maybe we're about to actually get a decent CPI and it's going to trick so many investors. And what else is interesting is look at the fear and greed index. Right now, the majority of people are thinking the market's about to crash. We're in 2008. What if we are going to crash, but it's going to happen a little bit later and there's going to be a trap before the crash happens? And I'm going to actually draw it out in a couple of minutes, so it's going to be much more clear. I just want to break down why this is a possibility. I also want to note that when it comes to Joe Biden saying this about CPI, maybe he knows something or maybe he's completely wrong. Maybe CPI is going to be hot anyways. Maybe it will be. Who knows, right? I truly don't know at the time I'm recording this. But I'm like kind of apprehensive now that he's actually saying this with so much confidence. It's almost as if he knows something. Who knows? Because typically when CPI ends up being hot, Joe Biden's going to come out and kind of like blame other parties, blame Russia, blame someone else. This time he's not doing that. He's actually saying it. He's so confident. He's optimistic. It's going to be in good shape. So if CPI is hot, the market could just crash. Tesla could crash. Everything could crash. All right. But if CPI ends up coming as expected or even a little bit low, the market could actually bounce when people least expect it, and all of the shorts could actually get hammered. Why is this a possibility? Well, first off, based off what Joe Biden said, there's that, and also because we have a crazy options chain for next week, we have quadruple witching. When you talk about quadruple witching, it just means that we have a ton of options expirations at the same time on March 17th. That's going to be Friday. We actually have 1.4 million calls out of the money and only 100,000 in the money currently. And we have 1.1 million puts in the money with over 2 million out of the money. So right now the shorts are on fire. They're winning, and Max Payne's at 400, which is way higher than where we currently are on SPY. So this makes me think, okay, if I was a market maker, if I was in the stock market and I was going to manipulate it, what would I do? I would basically squeeze the market at the end of the week. I would cause a lot of pain for these shorts and get us very close to max pain. We have a 2.04 put to call ratio. So there are over 3 million puts and just over 1.5 million calls. So the majority of people are shorting the market for next week going into CPI. That makes me think the market makers might play a game. Do they always play like crazy games and always destroy us? The answer is no. They don't always destroy retail. If we look at Friday, we actually saw the market tank and a lot of people in puts ended up winning. So sometimes the market makers lose. But because it's quadruple witching, there is an increased probability of manipulation and the market makers trying to artificially pump the markets. Now, remember CPI is coming out on Tuesday before the market opens. So we have some time before. And what I'm thinking is they might crash the market on Monday. If the market crashes very hard on Monday, there's a chance, or maybe there's a somewhat higher chance that the market might rebound after CPI comes out, right? It's just a theory. And this is like the perfect trap by shorts. And when I talk about SPY, you're probably thinking, what does SPY have to do with Tesla? As I mentioned on my channel millions of times, the market is very manipulated and it's almost like the whole market is moving on one algorithm. Look at how correlated Tesla is with SPY. They tend to move very similarly. Look at Tesla compared to the QQQ. Once again, very, very similar price action. In fact, Tesla and Apple do play a big role in dictating the QQQ and also the market sometimes. But the bottom line is, if the whole market is going to move in unison, this will affect how Tesla moves too. Tesla's options chain is also very strange for next week. We actually have about 1.1 million calls out of the money, and the puts, people who are shorting Tesla are on fire. So if I was a big institution, if I was like even a market maker, I might try to pump Tesla a little bit. I might just do it. Once again, this all depends on CPI. I don't know what CPI is going to be, so I'm not promising anything, but it is a possibility. But what I would do is a lot of these like people in calls might try to push Tesla up to get more of these calls in the money. There's a possibility they might try to squeeze shorts because I recently told you guys there was an increase in Tesla's short interest. We actually saw millions of Tesla shares being shorted, and we might even see some of them try to get squeezed, at least by the end of the week. That does not mean the market's just going to explode forever. It just might be a temporary thing. Now, what actually adds to this theory is look at the formation on SPY. I'm sure you guys may have noticed this is kind of looking like a giant head and shoulders. And what this tells me is there's a possibility that the market might drop all the way down to where this previous support was. We also have a gap down, I think around 377 on SPY, somewhere in the mid to high 370s. So what if, this is just my theory, not promising anything, okay? Don't invest based off this at all. This is just a theory, it's just a possibility. But you should always be prepared for anything just in case. But what if they crash the market very hard on Monday, right? Fear is just at crazy extreme levels. And also SPY has a bullish divergence that's developing. What if they crash us on Monday? And what they do is they trick so many people to start shorting super hard. Everyone starts shorting super hard. They think the market's about to collapse. And then, like Joe Biden said, what if CPI ends up coming out as expected? It's not way too hot or like extremely hot. Now, does this mean CPI is truly addressing and representing inflation? The answer is no, because CPI tends to be very manipulated, and they can manipulate CPI based on what their intents are, right? It's a manipulated number. You can calculate it through different measures. And what I'm trying to say is there's a chance, I'm not guaranteeing this, but if CPI is hot, okay, the market could just, tank really, really hard and not even get a rebound. We might just continue to tank insanely hard. That's a real possibility, right? Always be prepared for that. But what I'm trying to say, based off what Joe Biden just said, is if the market crashes like on Monday and we actually form almost like a double bottom here, which is similar to where we get the rebounds from head and shoulders formation. We could drop all the way down here. From a Fibonacci standpoint, this is the 0.618 retracement. I can show you that in a couple of minutes. And then what they do is, because of quadruple witching, SPY ends up gapping up, and then a lot of the shorts get squeezed. Can you imagine that? That's going to be insane. And SPY ends up rallying all the way up to about like the 400 range by Friday, where max pain is. We get another squeeze. That would really destroy so many of the shorts, and the market squeezes. But the squeeze actually is another trap. So this drop is a trap for shorts in the beginning. Then we rally all the way up here. It's another trap, because then sentiment's going to shift. People might turn bullish. But in essence, we could just be forming the left shoulder, the head, and then the right shoulder. And then the market might end up just continuing to tank into like FOMC. Or if we rally into like FOMC, we might just tank afterwards. And then we ultimately might get the crash people are talking about as Apple and Tesla and all these things get dragged down. This could also be a move for institutions to reestablish short positions. This could be all just a giant trap. We could see something like this play out. This is all just hypothetical, but I hope that this prepares you guys. So just so this is very clear, there's a possible head and shoulders like formation that's forming. This drop is happening really fast. This could be a trap for lots of shorts because of what Joe Biden said, and also because of quadruple witching, the crazy options chain. The market could get a fake rebound just like this, and the shorts could start piling in way up here. Once again, shifting sentiment, destroying shorts down here. Then as the market rallies, everyone starts buying and buying. They turn bullish, and then we get smacked down because of the Fed, because of some other catalysts, and so many other factors. This is just a possibility. And this would be an ultimate trap that benefits the market makers. On top of that, when you look at the hourly time frame on SPY, I want you guys to notice something. There happens to be a bullish divergence developing. This does not mean we have to like rally immediately. This does not mean we have to like squeeze immediately. But what could happen is this could still be developing where we do drop a little bit more into like the mid 170s, then not 170s, 370s, the mid high to mid 370s, and then we get a nice bounce from there. That's another possibility. Why on earth is there a bullish divergence? The answer is when you zoom all the way out, we actually saw the RSI around the 24s, 23s here. By the time we got to our bottom around this 374 area, the RSI happens to be around 32. In the 30s to 40s. The RSI is currently at 29, but we actually have a higher low. So the chart made a higher low. The RSI is making a lower low overall. Now on the daily, this becomes a little bit more clear. Let's see if this could actually show on the daily. On the daily, we could be forming it because when you go all the way from here, look at the RSI. RSI happens to be at 39, 40, 46, 42, 44, 43, in the 40s basically, back when SPY hit 370. This was back in December. RSI is currently at about 35. So the RSI is going down, it's making lower lows. The chart is currently at a higher low, right? Even if it comes all the way down to the level that we were at in December, the 370s, the RSI is going to be way more oversold, which means that this is a bullish divergence, which means the market could actually bounce when people least expect it. And it makes sense because retail, maybe not retail, but the market right now is extremely fearful. People are panicking. They think the crash is about to start. This could be a trap for them. All right, so this is just a possibility. I am not promising that this will happen. I'm not guaranteeing anything because I don't know what CPI is going to be. I really don't know, so I can't promise any of this. But there is a possibility that has increased thanks to the options chain and thanks to Joe Biden, who's saying that he's so optimistic that CPI will be in solid shape. The reason I say this is because, once again, Joe Biden is going to have egg on his face if he made this claim and then CPI ends up being like extremely hot, right? It makes me think he might just know something. Who knows? He might, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, who knows? So this is what I think might end up happening. I think there's a high probability that this could end up playing out, but there's no 100% certainty. So once again, don't trade based off this, don't invest based off this. This is just my theory. What does this mean for Tesla? Tesla has a tendency of being affected by the overall market, and it's a very positive beta stock. And as the market moves, it is affecting Tesla's price action. So what I'm thinking is Tesla might try to fill its gap around the 160 area first. Maybe it gets another drop on Monday, just maybe. And then what happens is this could be because of hedging, because of repositioning and other factors, maybe a continuation of the sell off going into CPI. If CPI ends up coming as expected, let's just say the market ends up getting a squeeze because of quadruple witching, the crazy option chain, which does incentivize market makers to do that. It doesn't guarantee it will happen. It just increases the odds of it happening. And then for Tesla, tons of calls out of the money. Institutions are incentivized to try to push Tesla up going into quadruple witching so that more of these calls end up in the money. So there's a possibility, not a guarantee, just a possibility. Tesla could come down on Monday, maybe fill its gap in the 160s. Maybe it tries to hold like 168 to 166, who knows? And then we get a nice bounce thanks to CPI. Maybe Joe Biden is right and it does end up coming as expected. Tesla runs all the way up to the like 180s or so. We do have a gap all the way up to 187. And that could be another trap where Tesla gets a nice rebound. It pushes up just a bit. People start buying into Tesla calls. They think Tesla's about to explode. And then later on, after the FOMC meeting, the market actually starts to crash. Maybe because of what Powell says. Maybe it could be some other factors. And then Tesla eventually comes down like this. So what would this look what would this price action actually look like? It might look something like this, where we see Tesla, all right, we might see Tesla do something like this, where it comes down on Monday one more time like this. I don't know how low it's going to go, though. It might stop at like 166, who knows? We get a rebound off CPI. The market just rallies and rallies and rallies. And this is just another bull trap to squeeze shorts going into like quadruple witching, the expiration. And the expiration for Tesla, let me double check when that is. That's going to be the 17th of March. So maybe by the 17th of March, they try to rally Tesla. The market just rallies a bit. Tesla just rebounds off, an as expected CPI. This is assuming Joe Biden is correct. We slowly rally, we squeeze shorts, and then Tesla eventually going into the FOMC meeting and etc. We eventually see Tesla come down, and we just continue to tank, and we start to fill these gaps down here. Tesla gets all the way back to the 140s going into like March to April. Just for example, right? Something like this could actually end up playing out, and we just go on from here. But anyways, this is very possible. I want you all to be prepared for this just in case the market tries to trick you, and to be ready, because CPI could lead to something completely unexpected. Sometimes you have to expect the unexpected or be prepared for anything. There's also the possibility that Tesla won't get a rebound and we just straight up collapse from here and we just, crash and we slowly continue to bleed if CPI is hot. Be prepared for that as well. But I'm just noting that there's a possibility that if Joe Biden is correct about CPI actually being, as expected or even like lower, possibly, we could get a small rebound that's temporary. And this is where the shorts will reestablish their positions. They'll start shorting up here in the markets, and then they'll finally let the market tank. That could be what is about to play out. All right. I hope this was interesting. I hope this maybe changed your perspective. I hope that this brought some preparation in your guys' eyes. Don't trade based off this. Do not solely make any moves based off what I say. You have to do your own research and be prepared for any possibility. I mentioned both possibilities, right? There's a possibility of Tesla just straight up crashing, the market just tanking from here, or we could get a rebound if Joe Biden is correct. I think that there is actually a good chance that could end up happening. The market gets a small rebound next week, and then we continue to drop later on. All right. I just want to prepare you. Have a great weekend, guys. Remain calm, cool, and collected. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon because the long term future is still incredibly bright. And peace out.